It's me, PJ. Yes, I'm on my bed, because today's topic is kind of painful for me, so I wanted to make it as easy as possible. Because today we're reading my old writing, and it ain't pretty, folks. So I have my computer here. This is all in my Google Docs account, which I've had since like third grade, so there'll be some real old stuff on here. Let me see. I gotta find a good one. Let me just. Aha! I got one. So this book, is called. Wait, let me just. So this book is called Catriona 1912. I wrote this third grade, I think. I was like 9 when I wrote that, maybe fourth grade. Fourth grade at the latest, probably about third grade. So I had gone to this thing and I had gotten this wooden doll. I had gone to a historical site and they had these little wooden dolls and I had one. And I was obsessed with the Hitty her first 100 years at this time. So I was like, you know what I should do? Oh, my camera angle's weird. I should totally write a book about this girl throughout different time periods, except I made the doll a girl for reasons, because, you know, need it to be somewhat normal. Okay, enough babbling. I'm just gonna hop straight in and hope it's not atrocious. It's gonna be, though. Catriona 1912 by my name. Today was just like any other day, except it wasn't. Today was my 11th birthday. So I thought I was so cool writing about 11-year-old when I was 9. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so advanced. And now I read it and I'm like, girl, you could not have written for even an 11-year-old at that point. Oof. Okay, here it goes. Here's the bulk of it. Go! I shouted. Blurs of purple and yellow were racing down the banisters. I live in a large estate in Maine. Our house's grand staircases have 2 sets of stairways that turn into a landing a little lower than halfway down. Did I win? The blurs coming down the stairs were actually my younger sisters, twins Kathleen and Catherine. Did I want to hurt my readers? I don't even... They are identical in every way. They have the same curly blonde hair, blue eyes, freckles, pale skin, and playful expressions. What was my thing with twins? Like, I don't know why, but I, like, always like writing about twins. And in this case, I made them pretty much the same person because, you know, my skills weren't great. But, like, started at a young age, always wrote about twins. Okay, so, yes, whichever one you are, I replied. This is just, like, a low-key petty note, but my grammar is just fantastic here. I'm Kathleen, she said in a bored tone of voice. Yeah, so basically every time I had dialogue, instead of ending it with an apostrophe, a comma, I put a period, and that's just really bothering right now. She said in a bored tone of voice, her purple hair ribbon askew. Kathleen had finally made it down to the bottom. I wish it was my birthday, said Catherine sulkily. Oh my gosh, this just formatting. She and Kathleen are 6. I have another sister, Caitlin, who is 15, and a brother, Charles, who is 13. Their names in order of their birth are Caitlin, Charles, Catriona, Kathleen, Catherine. Why? Why did I do this to myself? Caitlin and I look nothing like the twins. Sure, we all have our mother's pale skin and blue eyes, but Caitlin and I have straight black hair. So the older sisters have straight black hair, and the younger sisters have curly blonde hair. I've never seen biological sisters who are that different genetic-wise. Like, due to dominant, like, genes, they'd all have black hair. Or maybe one of them would have blonde hair, but you wouldn't get, like, 2 with blonde hair. So Caitlin's sort sister. I haven't really seen Caitlin for a few months because her sweetheart was on the Titanic. He died when it sank. Why? Why did I do this to myself? She's 15. So, like, realistically, she'd be getting married at like 17, so she wouldn't even really have any sort of suitor yet. And she won't refer to him as her sweetheart. She'd refer to him as like her courter or something like that. Can we sneak into the kitchens on the dumbwaiter again? I want to see your birthday supper, said Kathleen mischievously. Did I mention the twins love to play pranks? I think I tried to make them like 8-year-old blonde female versions of the Weasleys. Not only do they look alike, they also talk and think alike, plus anticipate what the other is going to do next so well, I think they might be telepathic. And that's the end of... Oh, that's not quite the end of chapter 1. I spoke too soon. I'm too old, but you can go if you want to. Girl, you're 11. You know what I was doing when I was 11? Still playing with my Playmobil princesses. The twins could get away with almost anything. Almost all the servants have a soft spot for one or both of them. The reason is that they are the youngest and I'm the closest in age, but 6 years older. That sentence was not correct. I wish I could do half the things they can and get away with them. Girl, you're 11, okay? Stop acting like you're an adult. And that's the end of chapter 1. Oh my gosh, our suffering. How many chapters are in this? 5. There are 5 chapters. Good. Okay. Chapter 2. My attic is gigantic. What a way to start. It has everything. My mother has kept just about every piece of clothing she and her mother have worn. There isn't even a section of her grandmother's clothes. I took that directly from the Penderwicks. I'm not gonna pretend I didn't. I totally did. It has more antiques than the Metropolitan Museum of Art. Was the Met a thing back then? We would be very wealthy. We already are, but we'd have a lot more money. Oof. If we sold less than an eighth of what's in this attic. She's so pretentious. Oh my gosh. Since I had nothing better today, that doesn't make sense. The twins and I explored the attic. Even though my family's lived in this house for over a century, we haven't figured out half of what's in the attic. Again, none of this makes sense. The twins went to the toy section. They always headed there first, but they usually ended up in the sword and archery section. They're 5. Wait, are they 8? Or are they 5? It doesn't say. I feel like I made them 8. I don't know why, but I feel like I made them 8. But still, they're heading over to the archery section. I, however, went to the section for the girls in the early 19th century. That just... I think I meant that, like, their family kept a section of the possessions from the girls in their family from the early 19th century. That's oddly specific. But I continue. As I blew the dust off a trunk, I recognized the name. Engraved was the name Catriona Caitlin Hamilton. So she has a sister named Caitlin, and a sister named Catherine, and a sister named Kathleen. And those are all derivatives of Caitlin. And then her name's Catriona, which is also a derivative of Caitlin. So everyone in her family's name is Caitlin. And then her name is Caitlin Hamilton. Why did I think that was a good idea? Okay, so engraved was the name Catriona Caitlin Hamilton. But that was my name! What was it doing in this old trunk? I opened up the trunk and was not surprised to find clothing, books, and letters. But way at the bottom was a small leather-bound book. Catriona 1812 was stamped on the front cover in gold. Next to it was a small key. I used the key to open the journal. I made that a new paragraph. I did not need to make it a new paragraph. The front page read, "This journal was presented to Catriona Hamilton, June 2nd, 1812, on the occasion," I spelled occasion wrong, "of her 11th birthday. Do not venture any further unless you are Catriona Caitlin Hamilton." I thought I was so smart. I was like, well, she can because she's Catriona Caitlin Hamilton. The next page read, "Today was just like any other day, except it wasn't. Today I turned 11. Catriona, come!" That's in the quotations. I slammed the journal shut. 100 years ago, there had been a Catriona Hamilton who had the same birthday, name, and family. How does she have the same family? I had to find out more about her. She had to be some sort of great aunt, because the owner of her mansion had always been Charles Samuel Hamilton of the some number. Father's the 24th. So, I don't know where I did how I did that genealogy for the generations of that, because for her father to be the 24th, let's be super generous and say that each generation was 30 years. So he's the 24th. 30 times 24 is, oh my gosh. I'm sorry, I need to check. Okay. 30 times 24. That's 720 years. This is 1900. Her family would have had to have the same name since 1200 for this genealogy to make sense. I was so stupid. The twins are admiring, and that's like, I mean, at some point, someone would die, someone would take over. They've been wealthy for 720 years. Are they royalty? The twins are admiring a large tapestry of our family tree. Look, it's ours in your name only 100 years back, exclaimed Kathleen. It was true. Charles Samuel Hamilton the 18th and Caitlin Adams Hamilton were linked together. So in 100 years, they had 6 generations. That just doesn't make sense. That's like a new generation every 15 years. How busy is this family? I want to know. Below them were several portraits of their children. One of them read Katrina Caitlin Hamilton, yada yada, 1801 to 1881. I mean, she lived longer. Linked to her was Matthew Charles Smith. Ding dong. I should have added a new paragraph there, not gonna lie. The bells chimed, signaling 6 o'clock. I went back to the other Katrina's journal and then pocketed it before racing downstairs with the twins. So, what did we learn today? Generations last 15 years. A family can keep generational wealth for 720 years. And I was an idiot when I was 9. So, yay. It's still going. This chapter's still going. You know what? I'm just gonna have to cut bait because it's all pretty boring. It's like her, like, birthday presents and stuff. Anything else interesting? Okay, I found something interesting. So their family is like, we're going to our beach house later this year. And everyone's like, why are we going to our beach house later this year? And they say, okay, the reason you're going later this year, this is their dad talking, this is the last, because we're building an addition for, father was saying. Mother, you aren't, interrupted Caitlin, her eyes filled with delight. I should have put a comment in there. Yes, I'm pregnant, laughed Mother. What? Why? Okay, first of all, with this kind of money, they would have had a large house already, so there's no way they'd have to build an addition just for a new baby. And the fact that, like, the older sister instantly guesses the mother's pregnant, like, that just... And then she says, yes, I'm pregnant, period. So, and there's no comma, so it would be, yes, I'm pregnant. Oh my gosh. This is so bad. Laughed Mother. I was shocked. A new baby? Improbable, but not impossible. Dude, do you know how much birth controls back then? Like, none. You would have gotten a new sibling, like, all the time. Now our family would have 6 children. All I could hope for is the baby wouldn't take a path like Kathleen and Catherine. Again, what parents would name their kids Kathleen and Catherine? 2 troublemakers were too many. I spelled my 2's right there for once. I needed a place to cool off. And that's pretty much the end. So what I was going for here was, I was thinking there would be a book for the 12, because it was 2012 when I wrote this, so I would have been... Yeah, it was like 2012 or 2013. So I was thinking I would do 2012, like the 12s of each century, going back to like 1612, 1712, 1812, 1912, 2012. all girls with the same name who looked exactly alike, who thought exactly the same. And then the 2012 girl would go back in time and meet all of them, which wouldn't have been that bad a premise if you leave out the rest of the lunacy. But yeah, that's the first one. On to the next. Ooh. Oh, this is a fun one. So, a little background. When I wrote this book, I would have been in like 4th grade. So, I had these like friends, and we used to play with my Playmobil princesses. And we had this long, elaborate story. So I thought this was like the miss of my Hunger Games phase. I was like, I could totally take this and write an edgy YA novel. And so, behold, my edgy YA novel. I think it was called like The Blood of the Royals or something ridiculous like that. Oh gosh. It starts, oh gosh. Look out! The bullet whizzes past my nose. Thanks, I said to my twin sister, Lily. I started learning how to use a comma. Yay. No prob, just around the corner, Lily said, throwing smoke bombs over her shoulders as she runs into an old abandoned factory. I still didn't know how to, use commas at the end of dialogue. But I knew how to use other commas. But I just switched tense there. Huh. It was left over from World War II. And one of the old offices is our home. And the reason somebody was shooting at us? Ta ta ta. We're the most wanted twins in all of Great Britain and Ireland. The big reveal of this book was that it turns out they're secretly, the royal family of Britain. I don't know what this is. Une minute, s'il vous plaît. Alright, so the big reveal is that they were secretly princesses of, Great Britain. They were, related to the royal family. But I didn't write that. I was like, it's gonna be a big reveal, because I'm cool like that. Okay, chapter 1. That was, a prologue, I guess? Question mark? Oh, my brother's outside. Okay. About 100 years ago, a huge civil war broke out between those who believed in a constitutional monarchy and parliamentary system and those who believed in democracy. Wow! This should have been in the prologue. By democracy, they meant dictatorship. After a war that lasted 10 years, the anti-monarchy side slaughtered the royal family, killing all but the youngest son who managed to escape. Great Britain and Ireland was under tyrannical rule for the next 70 years. During that time, the two sons of the young prince formed a rebellion and managed to defeat the government about 20 years ago. The elder of the two sons rebuilt the monarchy with himself as the king and his brother as the crown prince. So they managed to overthrow the government, go back to the old system that the people hadn't wanted because they instituted the new democracy, and then existed for 20 years before the democracy took back over again. That's a lot. Not gonna lie, that's kind of intense. Okay. We weren't always street urchins. Lily and I lived in a large estate with our mother, but not our father since he died before we were born. Oof. We went to an elite private school and were top students. Weird flex, but okay. Mom remarried when we were 7 and was expecting soon after that. While she was pregnant, there were rumors that the anti-monarchy societies were starting to build again. The rumors were true, and they decided to kill Parliament and the royal family yet again. Oh gosh. On the day before Guy Fawkes Day. I had the slightest bit of knowledge about Guy Fawkes Day through, V is for Vendetta and Doctor Who, so I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so culturally literate. I know what Guy Fawkes Day is. They struck, killing all but 4 members of the royal family and 2 members of Parliament. The London Massacre. Oh my gosh. I was named after the Boston Massacre, because at this time I think we were going over, revolutionary history in school. They also killed numerous civilians. I think I wrote this book in, 4th or 5th grade. They killed our parents the day after our little sister Stasia was born, which is part of the reason Lily and I were so bent on revenge. So I was like, so they killed everyone but 4 members. So two of those members were the twins. And then the youngest one, what, again, twins. What was my thing with twins? The youngest one of the 4 who survived was their little sister. And then I made their aunt survive. I don't know why, but their aunt survived. Last night we entered the British Library to do research for our scheme. So if you don't know what that is, it's like this big giant library with a bunch of like records for like all of England, and it's in London, and it has a bunch of historical artifacts as well. Computers can only yield so much information, plus what we needed to find was only in the library. Important blueprints of Buckingham Palace, old history books, government trade documents. I feel like government trade documents and old history books are there, but I'm not sure where you could get a blueprint of Buckingham Palace. I feel like I looked it up once. You can get maps of the interior, but you're not going to find, like, blueprints. Someone caught us and we needed to run. Like I said, we're wanted. But back to the present. What? Luckily, we managed to make it back to the factory and up the old boardroom where we had set up a small living space. Once we made sure covers were still in the windows and Stasia was alive, we began to discuss our latest research and how it would help our plan. You know, if this works, you'll be Snow again. Snow with a capital. It's like a nickname, I think I made it. I told her. Snow is Lily's nickname, short for Snow White. She's called that because of her black hair, blue eyes, and pale skin. This is like my 4th character with black hair, blue eyes, and pale skin. Do I have like a literary type? I look the same, only with brown hair. That's not how genetics works. Only if you're gonna be Belle, she told me. Last time she called me Belle, I was 8 and spent more time reading than interacting with humans. I feel personally attacked. Our, instead of our, eyes met for a second before we burst out laughing. I miss my old life, responsibility-free, parentful life, like before President Brat. I think I, Googled names that meant tyrannical power, and one of the names was Brat, spelled B-R-A-D-T. I don't think I'm pronouncing that right. So I was like, their dictator. Oh my gosh. I'm so smart. This plan has to work. What happens if it doesn't? Do you all die? Okay, let me see. Chapter 2. This is told from Lily's perspective. Being a criminal is lonely. If it wasn't for Laura and Stasia, I've gone crazy by now. But then again, Laura says I'm already crazy. Knee slapping. She says the world is a machine to me, just bits and pieces to assemble and perfect. Laura thinks differently, I guess. I should have added a comma. She sees people, not parts of a puzzle. So basically, this girl is a sociopath. We balance each other out. If I had been an orphan, at least I have Laura. Time for dinner, she whispered in my ear. Why are you? Shh, she said, pointing over her shoulder. Stasia was asleep on a small bed. Fine, but we have to be quick. Come on. Breaking into a store is easy. I knew nothing about this. I've never shoplifted. Why did I write about this? You just need to make sure you have all the right tools. As with all our break-ins, Laura and I use simple tactics to create diversions and warnings while I examine the computers. Oh, and you need to make sure you have used the right doors. Service doors don't have any complex locks of the main doors, but they do have security cameras. If they require keys, you pick the lot. If they require passcode, you check the keypad for fingerprints and figure out the combination based off them. So, Laura was meant to be this, super artistic, bookwormish, girl, and then Lily was meant to be, this nerdy numbers sort of girl, because twins can't have any similar interests, according to young me's logic. What's next? Okay. If they require passcode, you check the keypad. Once you're in, check for guards. What stores have guards at night? If I go down the road to the grocery store, there's not going to be guards, you know? If so, create a diversion. If not, continue to the computers that hold security footage. Once there, you delete any incriminating footage and replace it with previously existing footage that shows nothing unusual. Make sure to wear gloves and keep your hair in a hat so no DNA is left behind. What store is gonna use like DNA evidence from hair to try to find thieves? What was my logic? Then you steal. You can steal whatever you want, whatever you need, whatever you want. For us, it's mainly food. Nothing perishable and rarely something that needs heat. Then you need to make your escape. So are they just like eating granola bars all the time? If anyone sees you, you have two choices. Run away, taking many false turns to mislead them, or stay and bribe. Usually the first is the easiest. The market we went to have no guards. Surprise, surprise. Just some cameras. Okay, this stuff is kind of boring for a bit. And then, okay, this is interesting. I hate stealing and so does Laura. Like I said, she's more empathetic and cries more. Sometimes I find her up at night reading one of the few photo albums we managed to escape with. She's looking at pictures of our mother and biological father, our mother and stepfather. Us at age 3, learning to swim. This is boring. This is just describing a bunch of things. Those are the nights we stay up, trying to console each other, trying to stop the tears from falling. They're meant to be like 13, but I wrote this when I was like 9. Oh gosh. The pictures that are the most valuable but saddest pictures are we holding newborn Stasia. That does not make sense. Standing proudly with our parents moments before tragedy struck. The hardest to look at. Bitter reminders of what was and what could have been. Even I cry at these photos. Like I said, I think Lily's an android. Oh gosh. Laura's the only one I can talk to. Stasia's mute. So I had this idea for a big dramatic scene where like I planned a whole series out, like a trilogy that involved like a love triangle and betrayal and all that jazz. And so the final scene of the series would have been when the girls are like 17 and Stasia would be, she's 8 in this, so she'd be 11. No, she'd be 5. She'd be 8. And so she would be on the battlefield with them and it'd be like, no, go back. And then she'd die. And then as she lay dramatically dying in her sister's arms, she'd be like, I love you. And they're like, you could talk. And she was like, not until this moment. I'm pretty sure it's selective, but it's hard to tell. I hate this so much. I just want my parents back. Is that too much to ask for? If they were still alive, I would be in a house, not a factory. My meals would be purchased, not stolen. And 2 young teenagers wouldn't be raising Stasia. I want my parents. Shad. So Laura is secretly teaching Stasia how to write and read. She's explaining verbs. They get in a fight that involves a lot of screaming because they're trying to break into the palace. We hugged, crying in each other's shoulders. We always fight like this. Start civilized, start yelling, and agree with each other. It both makes no sense and total sense at the same time. I wonder what it's like being without a twin. Again, I was weirdly fascinated with twins. Even though we're polar opposites, it's like we're one and the same while being different. Deep. I'd really miss her if she died. I think most of us, if we have a stable relationship, our siblings would miss them if they died. Yeah, that's like a really short chapter. We're on chapter 4. This is from Lily's perspective. I'm scared. Words I haven't ever said out loud. I think about them all the time, almost constantly for the past 6 years. I thought I heard someone. So basically, I based Lily off Sky Penderwick, and if you've seen my most recent video on the Penderwicks, you know my thoughts on her now, so. I think about them all the time, almost constantly for the past 6 years, but I can never admit it. I was always the strong twin. What? The athlete, the mathlete, the one that can't cry. I needed to protect Laura, then Stasia. Inside, though, I was bawling my eyes out. So basically, she's been depressed her whole childhood? That's kind of sad. I just couldn't show it. I cried through Laura. I have to keep calm and carry on. My little nods to Britishness, all while sticking to the plan. Blah 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 plan, blah 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 plan, blah 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 blah. Historic underground. Okay, so I was imagining this like giant historical underground tunnel system through the city of London that only certain people know about, and they get along like get. That's how they make it through the city along this book. Blah 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 blah. Historical queens. They went through this massive checklist for everything they're going to need. I'm just gonna read some of the items on this checklist because I don't know how practical some of them will be. Smoke bombs, pocket knife, bobby pins, lighter fluid, actual knife, food, virus. So they had like a computer virus and they were trying to infect the mainframe of the computers because the dictator put all the mainframe computers in Buckingham Palace. Because that makes sense. Sleeping Stasia. Grr, about to do that. Last minute heist checklist. Going out in public. So basically everyone died during the war and all the suburbs are very, it was sort of like the capital in the Hunger Games, where like they had the districts outside of London, but then everyone in London, and they had like nothing, and then the districts inside of London had a lot of clothing, except the one difference between mine and the Hunger Games is like the Hunger Games, they don't have a ton of people in each district, but in my story they have like several 100,000 in each district. Londoners like dress in like super expensive clothing and stuff, but it's cheaply made because I was like, it's a metaphor, they're all fake. And I was like, they had a bunch of intricate hairstyles. Okay, so the president wants everyone to have passes to prove where they're from so they can go around because apparently people in the territories outside are trying to sneak in. That's actually not a bad plot point. That's like not that dumb. Okay, this is funny. The president rightfully wants to stop them from entering the city, so this is somebody else talking. President Brett is wonderful. How many people openly are like, yes, our politicians are wonderful, amazing, we love them all. No, he's not, I whispered angrily. Shh, whispered Laura. The women were still talking. Did you hear those twins were set in the library a few days ago? I can't believe they haven't been caught. How old are they? 12? 13? Even Laura snickered at this. So yeah, it was like meant to be this like little thing where it was like, well, we'll talk about them. And then they had all these nicknames. They had these ridiculously elaborately long names, and I'd pick random nicknames from them. So Laura and Lily were their names when they were on the run. Alex and Tori had been their nicknames when they were in the palace, and Snow White and Belle were their code names. Because that would be easier for my readers to follow. So they're sneaking in underneath the underground tunnel system. They put on they put on their outfits of black pants, a black t-shirt, and a pair of clothes, and a beanie. God, they sound emo. They were in a wine cellar. They get to the computers. They do the computer thing. They get out unscathed. They get back to their house. Yeah. Oh, okay. Poor Stasia, she's only 5, so she's 5. Okay. Oh my gosh, this is literally the best part. This is like young, tiny me basing like characters off like these guys who I liked from school. And these are their step cousins, so keep in mind when I read this part of the conversation. How do you think John and James are? I asked Lily when she asked if we could leave the factory. So they were meant to like go out because they go out for runs in the middle of the night for whatever reason. John and James are twin boys our age. They are step cousins. Hopefully alive, Lily replied. A lot of people have been killed in the last few years. What do you think they look like now? I mean, I haven't seen them 5 years ago. Hopefully James finally cut his hair properly. Still bothered by that, aren't you? It was annoying. Wonder if John still has to look after James. He wasn't looking after him. He was making sure he wasn't pranking the Prime Minister. We both started laughing. John and James's mother had married Mum's brother before she died. Mum's brother adopted them since their family had died when they were really young. John had dirty blonde hair and was always making sure James wasn't doing something he wasn't supposed to do. I rather liked John. James had dark hair that drove Lily crazy since it was falling into his eyes and loved to play pranks. Lily had a huge crush on James. She never said anything, but she always looked like she wanted to snog him. So it was basically like James was the prankster who Lily liked and looked like Lily, and then John was the uppity next in line for the throne guy who Laura liked. And James was based on this kid who I had a mild crush on in like 3rd grade, and he had a Justin Bieber bowl cut. So I was like, I'm gonna describe the character with the Justin Bieber bowl cut because that's the best hair ever. Wow. Yeah. Not much that interesting. They basically snuck out. Okay, this is back to John and James. Oh my gosh. This is Lily talking right now. I decided at night to go outside. I thought a lot about John and James. If they were dead because of us, I couldn't live with myself. They were practically our brothers. Except I rather like James. A lot. Every time Mom announced we were seeing John and James, I started thinking about how much I like James. He was just so ... dreamy in italics. Oh my gosh. He was just so cute with his 2 long dark hair and brown eyes. Plus he had the bad boy charm that made me just want him. She's describing this guy who she hasn't seen since she was 8. And she describes him as having that bad boy charm that made her just want him. They were 8. Think back to your crushes when you were 8. Like, did you want to marry them? We used to love sneaking off to the beach in the middle of the night when we were younger. I wish I could tell if he was alive. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. There's a part where she's like looking at her reflection because I wasn't a skilled writer to know describing reflections in mirrors was kind of like a cheap, easy way to do it. My skin was paler than I remembered, almost white. I wonder where I got that idea from. My hair was also longer. I looked older. I look different. Looking at my reflection made me think about just how long my sisters and I have been where we are. Laura and I were only 8 when Mom died, so the last time they saw the cousins who she loved so much, they were 8. We are now 13. It's been 5 years, but it seems like it's been much longer. Sometimes I think about how Stasia was only with Mom for 1 day. She'll never know. She was like, this is gonna sound weird, but how did they feed Stasia? Did they have to steal formula? I miss my old life so much. I miss my mom. I miss my stepdad. I miss the days when Laura and I could just play like normal kids. Well, almost normal. Mom had money. Weird flex, but okay. So they sneak into a palace, and while they're there, they see a wanted poster. Lily tore one down and started laughing. They should really stop using the image from when they were 8. They have no other images of you since you guys are so amazing. Sure enough, the picture showed us in party dresses with missing teeth. The picture was taken 2 days before we were orphaned. I took it from Lily and stuffed it in my backpack. I don't know why. It just seemed like it was important. Was it? I don't think I was planning to do anything with that. I think it was like on the wanted posters, we see that they say the names of the princesses, and then we learn that they're the princesses, and that's why they're on the wanted poster. We love a grand reveal. So basically Lily gets really mad again. Yeah, so Lily's really mad. Laura has to comfort her. They are planning to sneak into the palace to get something. I think they were rescuing their aunt. Okay. Laura and I are sneaking into Buckingham Palace to achieve something. That's our big plan. But it's something important. Something that could stop President Brat. Someone who could stop President Brat. Yeah, so basically, their aunt was taken prisoner, but they managed to escape because 8-year-olds can totally live on their own more than a fully grown woman. How do they even know she was... Oh, from what I've gathered, they get interrogated or tortured but are rarely killed. Almost everyone captured had something to do with members of the royal family are still alive. So they're still alive, so they know their relatives are still alive. They find more wanted posters. Lily doesn't care about life. She always hated babies, but when Stasia was born, she realized she needed to grow and accept responsibility. She was 8 at the time. Stasia really matters to her. She might not understand emotions that much, but she's always protected me and Stasia. Sounds like this girl understands her emotions perfectly well. She's just depressed because she is on the run. Oh, this is a part where I was like, I need my characters to be relatable. So Laura says, I used to get teased when we were little. Kids at school told me I was weird and constantly insulted me. Girl, you were a princess. Everyone would be scared to be, like, beheaded if they told you that. Lily often saw the crying and would challenge those who hurt me to races or... Oh, crap, I just deleted something. Okay, I got it back. I would never cry on the spot, but once they were gone, the tears would fall. Lily often saw the crying and challenged those who hurt me in races or trivia games, then beat them. Lily's always needed someone to protect, but now I have to protect her. It's my turn. So they're sneaking into the library. They're retrieving data. It's pretty boring. This is a fun part. Okay, so this is them describing themselves, technically, but nobody knew this at the time. The princes who brought back the monarchy wanted to change that, so they made actual decisions. They used older papers recording older times of rule to prove that a monarchy could be effective. Before the massacre, it was implied the king's daughters, Alexandra and Victoria, would someday rule. So that's why they were Alex and Tori beforehand. I was like, if they read closely, they'll figure it out. Girl, blind Freddy could figure it out. But no one knows what happened to the daughters. We know they're the princesses. They're basically us. Wow. This is such good writing. Alexandra and Victoria were twins, our age. They had similar personalities and even looked like us. But we haven't seen them since Brad took over. Some rumors say they died, running out of resources while on the run. Others believe they're in a different country. Some even say they're currently in a bunker under London. We found evidence that proves that as of a month ago, they're alive. If our plan works, the princesses might be able to appear again. So I thought the fact that they were like, oh, different people, you know, they were different people before this event. So it was like they were completely different people. So that's why they addressed their old selves in the third person. I did not write well when I was 9 or 10. That's all I have to say. They've broken their arms before. Yada, yada, yada. They found books. Stressful, really short chapters. Their parents are dead. So they said Stasia was 5 earlier, but now they're saying she has a chance of living to her 5th birthday. So, I don't know, I guess that's it, folks. That's it. It's pretty bad.